you take a lot of knowledge from that situation. And then, go into a place like I just came from where you're in a rebuild and you're having to evolve every year. Your personnel may not be necessarily to go equate, but we've got to figure out how to equate the talent and equate the run game based on what we have. So I think all those have been valuable experience. I don't know if there's, I don't know if there's one person in particular. I would say you take good and bad from everywhere you go, and I'm not trying to give a cop-out answer, but that's the truth. If nothing else, I don't believe you can be in this profession and not be a lifelong learner, and that's how I view it. Every year, if we're not studying best practices of technique, if we're not studying best practices of what's new schematically, if we're not looking at our own film and saying, how could we make this better, how can we enhance it, then we're going to fall behind.
I'm interested from a recruiting standpoint. You spend a lot of time getting to know kids, and then you take a job, right? You have to switch.
Right.
How does the messaging shift when you go from any place? Obviously, from Virginia Tech to Ohio State, you're recruiting a lot of the same kids.
Right.
How does the message change? Is it just, man, I didn't understand Ohio State's different because of this, or is it just still about the personal relationship?
Yeah, I think it starts with the personal relationship for sure. There's a trust level that's built in any relationship we have, but it's also kind of bridging the gap of what this program means, and I think it's a good testimony for guys that I had prior relationships with on, why did I want to come here? Why did I want to be a part of this, what I think is the best program in college football. So I think that part of it makes the communication easy, but it still starts with those personal relationships. Those don't go away.
Has there been a wow moment for you in the month you've been here, of maybe realizing like this is why a place like Ohio State is at the top of the heap?
I wouldn't say a wow. It is what I expected it to be, but more. And I'd say that all starts with Coach Day's vision, just how the program is ran day to day, the detail, the organization, how everyone has a very detailed role of what they need to accomplish for the greater good. And I think that's, from a player standpoint, from a coach standpoint, I think that's very unique, and he's at the top of the heap with that.
You guys haven't been.
Excuse me, sorry. Go.
When Ryan Day first contacted us, when the number popped up on the phone, that's how it happened. What did you think? How'd that process start?
Well, obviously, you know what's going on in the landscape of coaching. I think it was a time, if I'm remembering correctly, it's all been a whirlwind. We were out on the road, or I was on the road, and number popped up, and it was great because I'd been around Coach Day before when I was down in Jacksonville, and knew a couple people here, and obviously have always competing against this program and also admiring it from afar. Was very excited, and then the conversation started from there in the interview process.
And you were comfortable with Virginia Tech. Why leave? For obvious reasons, of course, but it's curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think you think about alignment with the type of coaches you want to be around, the type of head coach you want to work for, the ability to compete at the highest level. I think all of those things attracted me here.
When you get here, you have to evaluate the guys that are already here, the returning starters you had. You guys haven't been in practice yet, but what are your early impressions of like Carson at center, the guards that you guys are bringing back, and then the tackles? Like, you didn't recruit these guys, you didn't maybe not met any of them until now. What are your early impressions of like the stock that you have in the room right now?
Right. You said it best first. I'm going to reserve a lot until we get on the field. Obviously, there's a body of work with some guys from last year that you're seeing on film, watching every snap that they went through last year, and guys moving around and all those things. I'd say the thing that stands out to me is the athleticism in the room. That we got guys that can pull and kick out and get on the perimeter and do things. I think there's a general level of athleticism that sticks out, and guys that have experienced different spots. So you hope as we get into spring, that, and hope's a bad strategy, but as we go through spring, we're able to create some flexibility up front.
When you had your conversations with Ryan about this job, how big a part of those conversations was the recruiting aspect of this, and how much did that matter, do you think, in your hiring process?
I don't know. That'd be a question for him. I hope that everywhere I've been, I think you make an impression on people as a recruiter, as a coach. So I always view it, whatever job you're at, you're interviewing every day, not even just for that job, but what your reputation is. So I hope that played a part of it, but not sure. I'm just here to work. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Tom.